Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Young and the Restless channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now, let's jump straight into today's exciting update. The drama in Genoa City is about to erupt with breathtaking intensity during the week of July 13th through July 17th, 2026, as fate once again places Jack Abbott on the edge of life and death. After surviving one horrifying attack, Jack finds himself facing another brutal assault, one so devastating that even those closest to him begin wondering whether this time there will be any miracle left to save him. The entire Abbott family is thrown into chaos as fear spreads through every hospital corridor, every whispered conversation, and every desperate prayer. Yet, amid the darkness comes the long-awaited return of Ashley Abbott, as Eileen Davidson steps back into Genoa City just when her family needs her the most. Ashley's homecoming is anything but peaceful. She arrives carrying heartbreak in one hand and righteous fury in the other, determined to uncover who has shattered her family and to make sure the person responsible pays dearly for nearly taking her brother's life. The emotional shockwaves extend far beyond the Abbott family, touching nearly every major player in town. Billy Abbott finds himself caught in another painful crossroads as Jill Abbott prepares to leave Genoa City behind once more, uncertain whether she can walk away while so much remains unresolved between them. At the same time, Kane Ashby quietly begins reshaping his future, extending an intriguing opportunity that could alter several lives at Chancellor. Meanwhile, Victor Newman finds himself facing mounting troubles of his own, as Nikki Newman continues struggling through her difficult recovery. Their already fractured marriage hangs by a thread, weighed down by guilt, blame, and painful uncertainty. As July sweeps race toward their dramatic conclusion on Monday the 20th, every decision feels heavier, every secret more dangerous, and every passing day threatens to change these families forever. The story gains even greater emotional weight on Wednesday, July 8th, when Billy delivers grim news to both Jill and Sally Spectra. His face carries the exhaustion of endless hours spent waiting outside hospital rooms, as he explains that Jack lost an enormous amount of blood, and that his condition remains frighteningly unstable. Jill is horrified to learn that Patty Williams is once again walking free, unable to comprehend how someone with Patty's violent past could possibly be allowed back into society. Billy wastes no time placing the blame squarely on Victor Newman, convinced that Victor's decision to bring Patty back to Genoa City ultimately set this horrifying chain of events into motion. Jill doesn't argue with him. Instead, she quietly admits that if Victor truly bears responsibility for Patty's return, then he absolutely deserves to answer for the devastating consequences Jack now faces. Even so, beneath her anger lies another concern, and she gently urges Billy not to lose sight of the life he is building with Sally and their unborn child amid all this chaos. Their conversation soon shifts toward another troubling revelation, as Billy explains that Patty's psychiatrist, Dr. Lawrence Markham, played a major role in Diane Jenkins becoming the prime suspect in Jack's stabbing. Jill listens carefully before asking about Sally's business, and Billy reassures her that Sally is running everything herself, while he happily remains out of the day-to-day operations. But Jill quickly steers the discussion toward another subject that has been weighing on her mind after hearing about Kane Ashby's job offer at Chancellor. She openly questions whether Billy could ever tolerate working under Kane's authority, knowing Billy's independent streak all too well. Billy responds with frustration, accusing Jill of caring more about Chancellor than she does about her own son. The accusation lands like a knife, breaking Jill's heart as she confesses how deeply hurt she feels that Billy kept both his engagement to Sally and news of the baby hidden from her. Before emotions can settle, Billy leaves to bring food upstairs to Kyle Abbott and Diane at the hospital. leaving behind an uneasy silence filled with everything neither of them managed to say. Once Billy is gone, Sally quietly tries to ease the growing tension between mother and son, sensing just how fragile their relationship has become. Jill admits she doesn't want to leave Genoa City while things remain so painfully unsettled between them, and she refuses to depart before knowing Jack is safely out of danger. Across town, another heated confrontation unfolds as Michael Baldwin faces District Attorney Christine Williams-Romalotti over the investigation into Jack's stabbing. Michael is stunned that Christine seems almost completely unwilling to acknowledge Patty's horrifying history of violence and dangerous obsession with Jack. To Michael, the truth couldn't be more obvious. Patty attacked Jack. But Christine insists Patty was properly released from the psychiatric hospital and claims the evidence points directly toward Diane instead. Michael tears apart Patty's version of events, arguing that her story is riddled with contradictions and impossible coincidences. Christine remains unmoved, placing complete faith in Dr. Markham's evaluation that Diane suffered a breakdown, while reminding Michael that evidence, not emotion, drives criminal prosecutions. The argument only grows more intense as Michael reminds Christine that the burden of proof belongs to the prosecution, not to an innocent woman fighting to clear her name. Christine insists she already possesses everything necessary to prove Diane's guilt, but Michael refuses to accept that conclusion. He goes even further by declaring that Dr. Markham himself appears deeply suspicious, shocking Christine with his blunt accusation. Michael argues that any psychiatrist capable of holding Diane hostage is hardly someone whose testimony deserves unquestioning trust, comparing Markham's cruelty to Patty's own disturbing behavior. Just then, Lauren Fenmore arrives, bringing the confrontation to an abrupt end as Christine departs. Alone together, Lauren and Michael confess their growing fear that Diane's situation is becoming increasingly hopeless. Neither of them can understand how Christine has allowed herself to believe Patty's unbelievable story. And an even darker fear hangs between them: that Jack may never regain consciousness in time to save Diane. Or worse still, that he may never wake up again. Even through the uncertainty, Lauren refuses to abandon hope, believing with all her heart that Michael will somehow uncover the truth before it is too late. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Diane struggles to keep herself together as she pours out her fears to Kyle Abbott. Every passing minute fills her with fresh anxiety because Patty remains free, and Diane cannot shake the terrifying thought that Patty will return to finish what she started. She insists Patty carefully orchestrated every piece of evidence to frame her, while Dr. Markham willingly lied to make the elaborate trap believable. Kyle points out that investigators have barely questioned him, despite the fact that he can confirm Diane's whereabouts during the attack. Diane sadly believes that because Kyle is her son, authorities will dismiss his testimony as biased. Instead, all of her hopes now rest with Jack. If he opens his eyes and tells the truth, then everything Patty has constructed will come crashing down. Every heartbeat becomes another countdown toward that desperately needed miracle. Soon afterward, Jack is taken away for additional medical scans, giving Diane and Kyle just enough time to rush home and gather a bag of personal belongings for him. Although Kyle has wisely hired a security guard to protect Jack's hospital room, that precaution proves heartbreakingly inadequate. While Diane and Kyle are away, Patty effortlessly slips past security disguised as a nurse, blending into the busy hospital halls with chilling confidence. As Diane and Kyle hurriedly pack Jack's essentials, neither can shake the feeling that leaving him alone was a terrible mistake. Their conversations become increasingly anxious as they race back toward the hospital, haunted by the knowledge that Patty remains somewhere nearby. The tension builds with every passing second, creating the terrifying sense that disaster is waiting just around the next corner. Inside Jack's quiet hospital room, the atmosphere turns hauntingly sinister. Jack lies unconscious and completely defenseless as Patty stands over him, speaking to her former husband with a disturbingly emotional mixture of affection, obsession, and madness. She softly admits that she hates what she believes she must do, but convinces herself there is no other choice. In her twisted mind, Jack can never be allowed to awaken because the truth about who stabbed him would destroy everything. Clutched tightly in her hand is a syringe filled with something that clearly promises death instead of healing. As she prepares to inject the helpless Jack, every second stretches into agonizing suspense, leaving his survival hanging by the thinnest possible thread. Thursday, July 9th brings new developments that temporarily shift attention away from the hospital while still carrying enormous emotional consequences. Kane Ashby reveals a different side of himself as he spends more time with Lily Winters, and the chemistry between them becomes impossible to ignore. Their growing connection deepens during a meeting with Holden Novak, where Kane and Lily ask about Holden's future plans. Holden honestly admits that he has no idea where his life is headed, opening the door for Kane to present what appears to be an exciting opportunity at Chancellor. Lily seems genuinely pleased by the possibility, sensing that Holden could become an important addition to the company. Elsewhere, Jill remains determined to repair her damaged relationship with Billy before leaving Genoa City, although the wounds between them may simply run too deep to heal so quickly. If this truly marks Lauren Koslow's final appearance as the recast Jill, then her farewell promises to be filled with unresolved emotion rather than comforting closure. As those personal stories unfold, Kyle becomes increasingly determined to protect both Jack and Diane at all costs. Fortunately, Patty's latest murder attempt appears destined to fail, suggesting that Jack survives despite once again coming terrifyingly close to death. Kyle may finally decide enough is enough by confronting Christine directly and revealing that he personally found Diane imprisoned inside Dr. Markham's house against her will before helping her escape. Such testimony could completely dismantle the prosecution's carefully constructed case, exposing just how dangerously misguided the investigation has become. Every new revelation threatens to expose the truth hidden beneath layers of deception, manipulation, and false evidence. Slowly but surely, the foundation beneath Patty's lies begins to crack. By Friday, July 10th, attention turns toward the Newman family, as Nikki settles back into life at home while continuing her difficult recovery. Although physically out of immediate danger, emotionally, she and Victor remain painfully distant from one another. Once Nikki learns about Jack's brutal attack, her anger toward Victor is almost inevitable, because she knows his decision to bring Patty back to town set these horrifying events in motion. Adding to her emotional burden is the heartbreaking realization that her eyesight still has not returned, forcing her to confront the frightening possibility that recovery may take far longer than anyone hoped. At the same time, Victor shocks everyone by making a stunning announcement whose full consequences remain unclear, leaving friends, family, and business associates scrambling to understand what comes next. Whether the announcement concerns his personal life or his professional future, its impact promises to ripple through every corner of Genoa City. Friday also marks Ashley Abbott's long-awaited return, bringing renewed strength to the Abbott family during one of its darkest chapters. She is relieved to discover that Jack is still alive, but relief quickly gives way to fresh anxiety because Patty remains dangerously unpredictable. Unless someone remains constantly vigilant, Patty could easily return yet again, determined to complete the murderous mission she has already attempted multiple times throughout their turbulent history. Ashley's arrival is driven by fierce love for her brother and an equally fierce desire for justice. She refuses to stand by while Jack continues living under the shadow of someone who has repeatedly tried to kill him. Her presence immediately changes the emotional landscape, adding determination and resilience to a family already fighting for survival. As the week of July 13th through July 17th unfolds, Jack slowly begins the long and uncertain journey toward recovery. Yet every improvement comes with one terrifying reminder. Until Patty is safely locked away, neither Jack nor Diane can truly feel secure. Their marriage itself remains under enormous strain, as false accusations, attempted murder, and endless manipulation threaten to destroy everything they have rebuilt together. Everyone hopes Jack will awaken before too much more damage is done, finally telling Christine and law enforcement that Patty was unquestionably the one who stabbed him. That single statement could free Diane, expose Patty's lies, and force authorities to confront the mistakes they made by believing the wrong people. It is a truth capable of changing everything. Elsewhere, major professional changes begin taking shape, as Holden appears likely to accept Kane's offer at Chancellor, with Billy potentially following the same path. Yet, Jill's earlier concerns continue lingering in the background, because Billy may find it nearly impossible to work under Kane's leadership without resentment eventually boiling over. Victor's mysterious announcement continues sending shockwaves through the Newman family, prompting powerful reactions from nearly everyone connected to him. Nick Newman, already carrying enormous emotional weight, desperately wants his parents to reconcile, despite Sharon Newman's warning that such a reunion seems increasingly unlikely. If Nikki ultimately blames Victor for Jack's attack, as many believe she should, the added pressure could push Nick dangerously close to relapse. After fighting so hard to stay on the right path, the possibility of him turning back towards substance abuse casts a heartbreaking shadow over his future. Ashley cherishes the opportunity to reunite with her loved ones, even under such tragic circumstances, knowing that family matters most when life hangs in the balance. Sadly, her stay in Genoa City will be brief, as she plans to return to Paris once Jack is finally out of danger. At the same time, Kane and Lily continue moving closer together, their relationship steadily growing until intimacy seems inevitable. Their renewed romance, however, will not be welcomed by everyone. Devin Hamilton Winters reacts with explosive anger, unable to accept seeing Lily reconnect with Kane, while Billy also struggles with the fact that Lily has forgiven the man he still distrusts. Emotional alliances continue shifting, proving that love in Genoa City is rarely simple and almost never free from painful consequences. Beyond the central family drama, even more complicated relationships continue unfolding across town. Audra Charles refuses to give up her pursuit of Noah Newman, much to the growing frustration of Sienna Bacall, whose patience may finally reach its breaking point. Noah's failure to establish clear boundaries with Audra only fuels the conflict, allowing misunderstandings and jealousy to grow stronger with every encounter. Meanwhile, Matt Clark and Phyllis Summers continue growing closer in ways that many find uncomfortable, creating another unexpected romance destined to spark controversy. Before long, Nick will stumble upon the pair together in an undeniably compromising moment, adding yet another deeply awkward twist to an already emotionally overwhelming week. With attempted murder, shocking betrayals, fragile recoveries, dangerous obsessions, unexpected romances, and family loyalties all colliding at once, Genoa City stands on the verge of one of its most unforgettable weeks yet, where every revelation promises to reshape lives forever, and every heartbeat carries the possibility of another devastating surprise.